Hello and welcome to Hero Wars Info. My name is Ryan. Today is July 9th. It is a Wednesday. Hope everyone is having a good day so far. We have a new event, the Guardians of Outland event, that just came out. I would not recommend doing most of these tasks. I'm probably going to do very minimum and just my dailies. Maybe I'll start to get a little bit of energy tomorrow since we'll be able to double dip with Area of Conquest. That's going to start tonight. But other than that, this is going to be a pretty big pass for me. Today, what I wanted to discuss is PvP. So I had someone in my comments ask if I could create a video specifically about PvP and my thoughts, my strategies, since I usually do finish number one whenever my time comes around on my server. Now, I do want to put a big asterisk. My server's pretty small. We have 6 guilds, really, that I would say are pretty competitive, right? So it's going to be the top 6 in activity right here. Odin's Ravens, Tree of Olympus, Sneaky Blinders, Horde, Dragon Pinaway Fighter, and Legio Honoris. To be fair, out of those, honestly, the top 3 are only the ones that are going to be super competitive. And you'll have occasional players here that can do pretty well on the Arena or Grand Arena. But for the most part, it's going to be these 3 guilds. Now, I don't ever attack guildmates in the Arena, Grand Arena, anything like that. So I don't really have experience with their teams. But I do have a lot of experience with a lot of different types of teams. So let's go ahead and jump in and kind of give you an idea of what I look for. So let's start at Grand Arena first. So it's going to be really hard if you're a free-to-play player to have 3 good teams in Grand Arena. It took me a long time, and I do use a little bit of money, not a ton, but I do spend, I don't know, probably I average $50 a month on the game between, and I've been playing for 2.5 years, so that does add up. So it's a decent amount of money, but I have been able to build up my teams to be pretty solid. So there's kind of 2 ways that you can think about PvP. The first is, how can I get a good defensive team, and then how can I get a good offensive team? And those 2 things are very different. So if in my team creations, what I'm trying to do is have a good combination of different skills that I want to put together. So let's talk about all 3 of these teams and why they work. So first of all, I have a Lyria team. The Lyria team has been created mostly because she's a new hero, and it's harder for players who aren't super into the game to find counters to new heroes because they're not used to them. So it's easier to get successful defenses whenever you put them in. Now, Lyria is very good against dodge teams, and just especially with an Aiden boosted, is very hard to kill. Has a lot of health, kind of very tanky. So if she ults, then it could do some damage, especially with Sebastian, which is where kind of Sebastian comes in. He is going to stop any control effects from taking my team out of action, as well as give additional crit chances to both Lara and Aiden. Lara and Lyria, the 2 L's. So that's gonna reduce or really help the team kind of boost up in terms of damage. Now I put Isaac in here. Isaac is a great hero against magic teams. Basically, this combination right here, the Sebastian and Isaac, pretty much prevents any Gus and Orion teams from attacking me successfully. That is going to be a big counter to them. So I don't have to worry about those type of Magic teams. Honestly, really, most Magic teams with Isaac in there, I'm not going to have to worry about. So it's really going to be only physical teams that are non-dodge teams that I'm going to have to worry about. Like, this team will take out a Dante pretty easily, too. So I'm going to be positive there. Now, the other thing that Isaac does is, if they even have, like, let's say, 1 or 2 magic damage dealers in the team, Isaac is going to be able to ult, which is going to provide an armor penetration artifact, which both Lyria and Lara are going to be able to take advantage of. So that's kind of what I'm thinking there. This team has some pretty good symmetry and chemistry. It will probably... You can also use this for some attacking teams, depending on the other team's makeup. Now, for the flags, I just used the flag of pet strength, and I used armor penetration, physical attack, and just armor for this team, since Isaac already has a magic defense kind of built in. So you want to make it harder for physical attack to cut through, which is why the armor's there. All right, team number 2. We have a heavy tank team with a Heidi for defense. You can kind of think of this a little bit as like speed up team, because the goal is for these two to start putting their shields on. And Rufus is very good against magic teams, can't be taken out unless they have Morgan or physical attack. And then Julius is able to put shields on that will speed up allies. Now, the nice thing of having Martha in this role too is she also speeds up allies. So potentially, all allies could, as long as the team doesn't die fast, this team can be very hard to beat because you got shields and then speeded up allies for everyone based off of Martha's ability and Julius's ability. Now, where the damage comes in is right here, the Nebula and Heidi combination. These three are not going to be doing much damage. Martha, Julius, Rufus are just designed to survive and keep your team alive. The Heidi and Nebula combination is what is going to kill other teams. So that is, you really do need a boosted Heidi for this team to be super effective, which is why Nebula is in there. If you don't know, I think Nebula is probably the best hero in Hero Wars. That's my opinion. Just, you can use Nebula in every single team, no problem. I can find a use for Nebula anywhere. So if you don't have a Nebula, I highly, highly, highly recommend boosting Nebula up as much as possible. You'll use her for PvP, you'll use her for Osh, use her for Maestro, use her for everything. She's very, very good, as long as you put the correct damage dealers next to her. Then I put a War Flag of Frost. This is just mostly for defense, like the magic defense armor, and then magic attack just for Heidi. Heidi does pure damage, but that comes from the magic attack there. And since this team can take a while to get up and running once the shields come up, I use this flag where it takes every 18 seconds, because now I know that this team probably won't die in 18 seconds. And if this battle goes on, this flag effect can be pretty solid. It can really mess with the other team's chemistry. Then lastly, I have my just destroy them with magic team. This is Aurora, Celeste, Orion, Augustus, and Dorian, with Kane to help Aurora's dodge. This is a dodge team. This is how I'm going to be pretty much avoiding damage, is by dodging, as long as they have a physical attack team. And then this combination is pretty good because Orion does magic penetration. Augustus, I believe, does magic attack. So does Celeste. Dorian is just there to heal, since these are all going to be doing a lot of damage. And so we have a decent amount of heals here too. But that's good because the defense is pretty low. Aurora, if there's not a dodge and is just getting attacked with magic, can be pretty weak. So you're gonna need some heals here. And then I obviously did the energy gain for tanks with physical attack, magic attack, armor. I use this as my kind of I guess you would consider our main flag. That's why I have physical attack and magic attack. This is not a physical attacking team, but I did want to have one flag that I could use as an intermediary at different situations, whether in arena, throw it in like Guild War, Clash of Worlds, anything like that. That can be used for multi-purpose, which is what this is for. Now I put Kane as a pet just for the extra energy, and if Aurora is dodging a lot, then Kane will be able to do a little bit of physical attack. So that's kind of what I'm thinking here. You can see I'm number 1 on my server right now. For the most part, it's me and this guy that go back and forth a lot during the day. You can see, like, look how many times we've attacked each other or been attacked, right? There's only one other person right here over the past 2 days that have been going back and forth. So these teams are pretty solid, both for defense and for attack. I switch them up. I think a good note is once you have taken the first place, what's going to happen is you're not going to be able to see the other person's... If I was in second, I wouldn't be able to see first place's teams. So switch them up so that they can't just find counters to these teams and just immediately do them. So I move these teams around. I don't actually switch the teams and their actual chemistry and like different heroes. I don't do that, but I will move the teams around to make it harder for the teams to guess which ones are going to be at the top. Now for Arena, I always try to get first place in either Grand Arena or Arena. I think it's kind of critical because look at position number 1, you get 650 emeralds. Doing some quick math, let's just bring up a calculator here. If you get 650 emeralds each day, and you're able to get to the top, you're looking at close to 20,000 free emeralds each month for free. That's very good. I use a decent amount of emeralds each day, probably close to 1,000, maybe a little bit less so, depending on if I'm going to use energy. So doing this really helps stop my emerald spend or my emerald decay that I'm going to be looking for. But let's go ahead. I have just like kind of a regular Lyria defense team of Aiden, Lyria, Nebula, Sebastian, and Lara with that correct flag that I showed you in Grand Arena. But let's go ahead and look at first place's team. Well, we'll see if we can take it out. All right, Skywalker. And let's actually, before I take him out, I'll tell you the teams that I would be looking for in every single one of these examples. And I would be looking to create. This one's going to be super easy. This is Aurora, Sebastian, Heidi, Orion, and Gus. If I am creating a team to stop this, I am actually probably just taking out Nebula, and I am putting in Isaac here. Right? And this team will win. 100% of the time, this team will beat this team. We have the Isaac that's going to be stopping Aurora, Augustus, and Orion. Sebastian will be able to prevent Augustus's debuff from going. Lara is going to provide some stuns, but they have Sebastian, so that probably won't work, but some good damage. Lyria will stop Aurora in her tracks from dodging. And just a boost here with Aiden. This team would just destroy that one. And I'll do that in just a second, just to show you. This one, okay, so this is an interesting type of team. It's very similar to the ones that I showed you in Grand Arena, except we have, instead of Martha, we have a Lara Croft. So what team would I use here? I've actually found a team that works great against this defense, and it's going to look something like this. We're only going to do one change. It's going to be Xing Mao, Nebula, Sebastian, Lara Croft, and Aiden. Now, what I will do is I'm actually going to make Xing Mao dodge, and we want to put Kain in there just to get extra energy gain, because what you want is for Xing Mao to quickly do a few dodges and start to ult off on these two. But if she is able to do that before the shields get up, these two usually die before any defense can come into place. The Sebastian is going to stop the Lara Croft stun for the most part, and then Heidi will just be able to be taken out with the rest of this team's damage. And Odin, okay, so this is again a Lyria-based team. You can, and I've actually had success using this team right here against this. It's a very almost mirror match, except I have a Nebula boosted, and they have Kiera. I kind of like that a little bit more. I'm not a huge fan of Kiera. So I've had success with this. It's strange. I've actually also had success even using Xing Mao against teams like this. It's a lot closer, and it's definitely not a 100% team, but you can try that. The other type of team that I have tried a couple times, I just leveled up my Amira to max, so I've started to use her a little bit more. But even putting Amira in here can do some pretty good stuff against teams like this. All right, let's go ahead, refresh. Here's a new team. That's pretty much the exact same team that we saw earlier, so don't need to really talk about that. A lot of these are the same ones. Yep, I mean, we have so many Lyria teams at the top here. Yep. Let's see. Yep, all of them are Lyria teams, so not really great examples. Oh, here we go. This is kind of an interesting team. So we got the Dante, Celeste, Isaac, Sebastian, Iris. For this one, again, I'm just using this Lyria team. And the reason why, I don't want to use magic heroes because that will help charge up Isaac. With this team right here, Isaac is not going to be doing anything. Lyria is a hard counter to Dante, pretty much a killer there. Iris, I'm not really worried about because the combination of Lyria and Aiden makes it so Lyria has a ton of health. And my healing that Celeste can mitigate isn't that much. This team would probably, I would say, I think it might even be 100% team against the one that is showing. So let's go ahead and go to Skywalker. Let's change this. I usually wait for my attacks until later in the night, but let's go ahead and switch this. We'll go ahead and move it to Mara and take a look, and we'll start to analyze a little bit of what's happening. All right. So you see this like purple or pink ring? That is the negative ring of stopping dodge. So Aurora is not going to be dodging. And you can see here I'm already pretty much won. My team has barely gotten hurt, and all of their people are going down. This is a 100% win rate team against that. I'm in first place, and now they're going to have to figure out how to take out my team. Now, my team, you want to put something up that's a little bit harder for them to succeed at. I would suggest Rufus teams. If you have Rufus built up, he can be very, very annoying to stop. So Rufus teams are good there. Otherwise, I would put something that is not hard countered. So this one it's hard to find a hard counter for this team. But like the Orion and Gus teams, like a Rufus will stop that, and this team will also stop that for the most part, just because Sebastian's in there. Now, let's go ahead and look at some of the the Guild War fights, and let's talk about teams that I would use. Now, I'll go ahead and show you the battles that I've done in Guild War today. So the first one was also Skywalker, so it's just the team that I took out. Just a quick change was that Astaroth is in there instead of, I think it was Celeste, maybe? No, it wasn't Celeste. Iris. Yeah, I think it was Iris. So they changed that out, but the same team that I used in the arena just will crush that every time. And then we also got this team, which is a kind of interesting team. Let's go ahead and look at this battle replay. So we got a Dante, a Nebula, and Sebastian, Heidi, and a Fafnir. So the teams that I'm going to be using against this, especially if there's no Isaac, we're going to use Aurora. Aurora is a dodge hero. Stops the boosted Dante pretty well. So Dante is by far the hero that you're most concerned about here, because they're at the front line, they're probably going to ult fast. So you want to make sure you have a dodge artifact up, which Aurora does give before that happens. Now I've also added Celeste with Axel to make sure that if Dante does get a hit off, that Celeste won't die, because Axel will protect them up to, I think their max that they can take is 45% of their health, so will not die. Nebula's a dodge hero, Heidi's a dodge hero, and very good against Dante as well. And then Iris, really just because this combination's pretty good. Iris, you can switch this out, not the most important hero here. And then I also put Chorus in here just to stop Fafnir stunts. That's the big reason. So we'll see how it works. Usually if I can get one dodge, like right there, it's over. Right? As long as I dodge once, now I've got my dodge artifact up. You can see that right here. That means that it is going to be very, very, very hard for Dante to actually hit my team. And it would be very unlucky if he was able to take out both Heidi and Aurora, which is basically what needs to happen for him to win. Alright, so Celeste is putting up her debuff, but we already have a dead Dante. So now it's just going to be very quick on actually just doing the damage to kill these. See, we got the Chorus, going to be stopping anything Fafnir does. Aurora's still dodging. Now their Heidi is a little bit worrisome, but I have a stronger Heidi here, and I have someone who's healing me, and they don't. So it's now, especially with Nebula dead, that Heidi is pretty much worthless, and you can see here that, and this is how you know you've created a good team. You don't want the teams that are barely winning each time. You want a team where everyone is still alive, and pretty close to max health. That's also going to be big in AOC, or Area of Conquest, because you want to create teams that are not going to barely able to beat the other team. You want it to dominate the other team so that it can keep on defending successfully. And then Fafnir's dead, but this is a team that's barely hurt. All right, let's go to a few of my attacks in Tree of Olympus from yesterday as well. We have this one, and this is CJ. Let's go ahead and take a look. They have kind of a unique setup, Lyria and Lara with the Kiera. So we saw something similar to this team. And normally, you don't use Xing Mao against Lyria. But I've actually found some success with using Xing Mao. So watch and see what happens. This isn't as dominant a team as you're going to see on the previous one. You're going to see it go down a little bit. See, like, Xing Mao is below half health. I don't like that. But at the same time, I'm usually able to take out Lyria pretty quick. And you can see here that I've taken out Sebastian as well. And that Kira is going down and is resurrecting now. But it's too late. This team is just doing too much damage and is too good. So you can see half health for Aiden. Like, it's not a terrible place to be, but I prefer a much stronger victory. Then we had to wait until the Citadel opened. Here was the other team. And this is just this is the regular Dante, Orion, Augustus line. That is super hard countered by the line that I put out. We put Isaac and Sebastian together to counter these two. Lyria is going to counter Dante. Lara is going to do a lot of damage, and this is going to be a rout. Without Dante dodging, Dante becomes very not good. Did manage to hit a couple of my guys, but they didn't die. And Dante's dead, and now Isaac's about to go off on them. Yep, boom, 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 boom. Augustus doesn't do that much damage by himself, and it's over. Never really in jeopardy. Alright, now let's keep on looking at some examples here. Let's go to, let's say, the Foundry. And let's take a look at some teams that I would use. So we got the Corvus, Yasmin, Morgan, Phobos, and Martha. Now, this team would be pretty easy to use. I'm out of attacks for today. But what I would be using here is definitely Aurora. Aurora has a dodge artifact, so that is going to be very good against both Yasmin and Corvus. I know a lot of people like to try to do the hard Yasmin counters, like the using Corvus against Yasmin is really good. So is using Helios. I don't have either of those built up, and I don't really care, because Aurora does a very good job of stopping Yasmin anyway, and will even stop Corvus's attacks. So, and some of Morrigan's minions' attacks. So if I use Aurora, that's going to be countering a few of these people. I would also, they don't have anything to stop magic attack here, so I'd be using Aurora. I would be using Orion with Merlin, Augustus with Albus, probably Nebula to boost, and I don't know, maybe a Celeste in there too, just for additional damage, and that should be a 100% win team against something like that. Something like this, we have Aurora, Celeste, or Iris, Faceless, and Leon. So what I'd be using here, I'd definitely be using Isaac. So Isaac and Sebastian as a combination. Sebastian to stop Leon from doing any control effects. Isaac to take out these top two. And honestly, it's going to be pretty close if I just use those two. But you can throw someone like Celeste in there. I would have a tank. You can choose what tank you want to use. I would probably honestly just use Aurora. But you can use pretty much any tank you want. You could throw Rufus in there if you wanted to. That should work fine. You can use Corvus if you wanted to. You could use Illyria and just do a Lyria tank situation. You could put the Lyria, Isaac, Sebastian, and whatever other teammates like the Lara and Aiden. That's possible to beat this team, but that would probably be close to 100% there too. This team, I'm using Sebastian and Aurora for stopping Arachne from, again, any control hero is pretty much hard countered for the most part by Sebastian. So if you see a control hero, either use Sebastian or Chorus, otherwise you could have a bad time. And then for physical attack heroes, as long as they don't have Lyria in here, use Aurora, and these are going to be much less effective. All right, let's take a look. This type of team, I'm using a Aurora to stop Xingmao and Zhu. That's pretty easy. This type of team that uses a Rufus, there's a lot of different types that you can use. A Lyria team would be able to beat this. Some of the Lyria teams I showed you would be able to beat this pretty easily. You can also use Morrigan and maybe a Corvus with like a Orion and Augustus. That way, Morrigan is going to stop Rufus from resurrecting, and those two will do enough damage to kill that. You can also choose like a Morrigan Aurora team with like Heidi just to stop Dante from doing any damage. But I'm not as scared of this Dante. It doesn't have a Nebula boosted. It could crit, but without a Nebula boosted, it's not nearly as scary as other teams. This is an interesting team, like a Corvus added and a Jet. Here you have a few different options. I think the Amira line with like the Amira boosted Nebula and Sebastian would be pretty solid here. Let's test that out. So we got Corvus, Lyria, Kira, Jet, and Sebastian. Let's see if I can remember that. And let's do some combat training. Let's create, we're just going to max these out for the team. All right. We got Corvus, Kira, Jet. Where are you, Corvus? Lyria, Sebastian, and Chorus. Let's see, where are you? Sebastian and Corvus. Where are you, Corvus? There you are. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and put the pets on that I think would probably be the best in this situation. Yeah, let's do something like that. I think they had an Axel. And then I think they had this one with... And I'll give them the pet or the attack patterns that I think would be best. Physical attack, armor penetration, and probably let's just say armor. Okay. Now let's go ahead and assemble the attack team based off of heroes that I have. Let's see how this Amira team works. Let's try an Amira boosted team, and let's go and use this flag. Yeah, this should be interesting. I'm interested in seeing how this would do against Corvus. Normally against teams like this, I use Aurora, but because Lyria is here, you kind of have to switch it up a little bit. Basically, as long as Amira can survive, this team is going to... Okay, so we got the first ult out. In just a second, we should see a pretty big ult on their team. And it really stops... There we go. Okay, so we got a big ult. And most of their people died. Jet is trying, but it's not going to be good enough. Now my team is healing up again. Up there, Kira's back. But Jet's gone. And now it's just Corvus against my whole team. That is still pretty high up there. Okay, great. Let's keep on repeating this. We got, see how it goes. Victory, 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 defeat. Okay, we'll check that one out in just a sec. Wonder what happened in that defeat. Okay, so another defeat. Another one. Not bad in terms of percentage. Looks like 75% maybe. Let's take a look. Yeah, it looks like Kira really went off. Maybe got a few Got a few, like maybe crits off. Okay, let's switch this out. Let's see how we can do with a... Let's see how like a Jing Mao would do here. Yeah. Let's try this. I could see Jing Mao doing pretty good because I'm not sure if it's going to be in Lyria's... I don't know if this actually goes to the first one. Oh, gosh. I need to auto, of course. There we go. We got the Jing up. That's not going to work. Yep, just end that one. Yeah, I don't think that team's going to do very well. One victory, mostly defeats. Okay, so not the best team. Okay. Let's see what else we can use. Let's forget the blender style. I think we can be pretty effective with this Augustus team. Definitely keep a Nebula there. Let's go ahead, put like someone like Julius in. And let's go ahead use like a Dorian here. We'll switch this out, different flag. And yeah, we can use Kane here. Yeah, let's try this. They don't have really anything to stop the magic attack. They do have Sebastian, but I don't think that's going to be enough. But maybe I'm wrong. Because with Dorian's aura, like Augustus and Orion are just going to be healing themselves. And I really just need Julius to stay alive long enough to... And it looks like he is. Uh-oh. Well, I was wrong about that. They the Lyria got off the ult, which killed my team. Let's see. Okay, looks like a lot of defeats, a few victories. Let's keep on testing. Let's keep on testing. Forget Julius. What if we did like kind of an odd Amira team? Let's try like adding Aiden in here. How would this do? And then I'll try it with Aurora probably next. See, like the first, at the very beginning of the battle, we're doing pretty solid here. Yep, and then boom, we just have that that big hit. Yeah, that team is not good against that. Okay, let's just try an Aurora team then. Let's try an Aurora. I don't like that boost there. Let's try an Aurora Celeste. We can try something like this. Nope, still no. Okay, still not good enough. Maybe I need to stop thinking about that. We can just try to do our straight up blender for Lyria and use our Lyria blender against this. That could work as well. We'll still use Aiden with Chorus. And let's go ahead and throw in Lara. There we go. Switch this back. Still have Axel. Yeah, let's try it. There we go. Lyria's ulting with a boosted ult. Hopefully that can take off some of their line. We got the Lara ult. Okay, Corvus is down. And there goes Lyria. And yeah, this is going to be a nice cleanup. Kira coming back and quickly dead. Cool. Okay. Defeat, victory, defeat, victory, defeat, victory, victory. Okay, this is probably, I don't know, 60, 70% team, something around there. Not the absolute worst. Last one. Let's try just the Ishmael team. Ishmael is someone who I just recently maxed out too, so I really need to find situations and put him in there. Alright, get to your alt, Ishmael. There we go. Alright. I have a lot of alts coming right here. Ooh, there we go. Kira's gone. Yeah, we can just wrap that one up. Couple victories, couple defeats, couple more defeats. Interesting. Okay. Let's actually use the same attacking team. I want to see what's happening with these defeats. They just kill Ishmael before he is able to get going? No, he got going. He just didn't kill, bring him down fast enough, I think. Okay, well, let's see what team would worked out best here. So we can go out and let's take a look at combat history for all of these teams. The Amira one had, I think, the highest percentage of victory, I think, against a team like this. But that's what I do whenever I'm looking at different teams in PvPing, right? Always try combat training, figure out teams that would work out well. Now, if you're a free-to-play player, honestly, it's going to be pretty hard for you to consistently move up in the arena until you have gotten more of a stable of heroes other than your main team. The reason why is that other teams will be able to counter you and you won't be able to counter them. You really need a solid like 15 heroes or so before you can say, like, I feel pretty good about countering most teams. And you can see here, I have maybe close to 20, something around there, maxed heroes out. And I've intentionally selected these as different counters to different teams, right? So that I can find winning teams against every single combination. Now, as I continue to expand out here, I think that's going to be better and better. And I get more heroes. I think all my percentages will go up for every single team. But I feel pretty confident I'll be able to find a team that is at least winning more than 70% of the time, 80% of the time against any other team. Usually higher. But occasionally there will be teams that will be a little bit tougher. Yeah. So, I think that's going to be it for today. Thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. If you have any other questions or any other team-specific scenarios you want me to go over, let me know in the comments below. Thanks so much.